This week on Talking Pictures with Neil Rosen Talks Oscars, the Academy Award nominations are out and we're making predictions. We'll tell you which Best Picture nominees have what it takes to go the distance. We'll let you know if there are any actors and actresses who have the coveted gold statuette all but locked up. Plus, we've got the word on what director is out and in front with the best chance of winning. We've got all that and many more Oscar picks and thoughts coming up. Welcome to Talking Pictures Talks Oscars. The Academy Awards are on Sunday night, March 12th. And along with my panel of experts, we're making predictions. I'm joined by Perri Nemiroff from Collider, who's returning to the show after a several-month absence. Welcome back, my friend.
I got dibs on the Oscar show every year.
You got it.
Every year.
You got it. And Rafer Guzman is here from Newsday. Hey, Rafer, how are you?
Always glad to be here.
And always at my side, Bill McCuddy from GoldDerby.com. Hey, Bill.
Whether I want to be or not,
there
here
you
we
go.
are.
Well, anyway, let's start off with Best Supporting Actor. Let's take a look at the nominees in that category.
I just don't like you no more.
You just ride it, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Like me, like you, I think. We're junkies. And art is our drug.
You probably wouldn't ever want to, I don't know, to fall in love with a boy like me, would you?
All right, Best Supporting Actor, Perri, who do you think will win, and who do you want to win?
This race has been over for a while now. It's Ke Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. My God, what an electric, just lovable role, and I love what that character stands for in that story overall. I cannot wait to see him up there accepting his well-deserved Oscar.
Rafer?
I'm going to agree. I think this is one of those cases where you kind of can't separate the role from the actor. You know, he's had such a hard luck story, but he's such an endearing character, and you know, he's the heart of the film. And I'll say something unpopular. He's actually the only thing I like about that film, and I think he's going to get it.
Oh,
Good for you, and I applaud you for saying that. Yeah, Dr. Jones, this is the kid that we grew up with, and in the Goonies, and then he gave up show business for a while and came back. So I love everything about that story, and I agree with Rafer. An otherwise not dreadful, but not my favorite movie of the year.
Right now?
He's gonna do it. Although I'd be thrilled if they came to their senses and Brendan Gleeson got it for Banshees of Inisherin.
I agree with all of you, and we'll talk about the merits of Everything Everywhere All at Once when we get to that category.
Wait, there are some merits to that?
The merits or pitfalls of that movie. But yeah, Ke Kwan, listen, Hollywood, as you said, Rafer, loves a comeback story. And, you know, this is, as Bill said, this is the kid. Plus, you know, if it's any indicator that the guy's won every other award on every other award show, Critics' Choice, Golden Globes, you know, I could go on and on and on. Which
Please
usually,
don't.
I won't. Which is an indicator there is no reason to believe that he's not going to win this particular award. Wow. Okay, let's take a look at the nominees for Best Supporting Actress.
Where is her treacherous husband now? But in a place where she can visit if she wished. Mine!
You say you're sorry one more time, I will shove a knife right into you, I swear to God.
Jesus Christ, Dominic, would you ever stop creeping up on people? You almost gave me a heart attack.
It does not look good.
But what you meant to say is you're not allowing me to be here.
Rafer, who do you like to win? Who do you want to win?
I'm going to state the obvious. I think I really like Angela Bassett as Queen Ramonda in Black Panther.
Ramonda.
She's great. She's very imperious. She's got a lot of gravitas, which I think is a difficult thing to bring to a Marvel movie. The only other person I can think of who did that was Josh Brolin in the Avengers films. But I think she's a great presence in the movie, and I think she's also going to win.
I am agreeing. I was a little worried that over the course of the months, Black Panther was kind of fading from the Oscar conversation overall. And, you know, it kind of has. It hasn't been nominated in a ton of categories, but I think she's just been going up and up and up. This is going to be a really interesting episode given how you two feel about Everything Everywhere. But if I were the one to choose the winner, I would give it to Stephanie Hsu, because I don't think that movie works at all unless she could pull off that really complex role that literally demands that she be able to access maximum range, or otherwise that character in the movie overall is just not nearly as effective as it is.
I don't know how you have this conversation at all without bringing up Carrie Condon from Banshees.
Oh, I'm gonna bring her up.
Okay, hold on a second though. I think that that's the should win, but I can't believe no one is the believes the gonna win is going to be Jamie Lee Curtis.
No.
Jamie
No.
Lee Curtis
No.
is Hollywood royalty, born of two famous actors, has never gotten an Oscar, has been working the rooms across the country through the whole Oscar campaign. I think it's Jamie Lee Curtis. Remember, this is always.
Is that who you want?
craziest-
Is that also
this
who
is
you want?
always the crazy. No, I would like Carrie Condon to win from Banshees of Inisherin. But remember, this is always the screwball category.
It is.
Supporting women goes all over the map.
I'll tell you who I want to win. I also agree with you.
Yeah, it's your
Carrie-
format. Give us the.
No,
who should win and
right. I
who's
think
gonna win.
Carrie Condon, she makes that movie for me. In a movie that I think is overrated, and in a movie that is a small, nice little film, you know, when she comes on, she steals every scene that she's in. She's terrific. But I also like Angela Bassett, and I think Angela Bassett will win. Listen, she was nominated once before for What's Love Got to Do with It by playing Tina Turner, and she didn't win. I think this is her year. Plus, she does a really good job playing that character, and she's going to make history here. First of all, she's made history by being the first actor
Head of
or
Wakanda,
actress-
the first.
No, the first actor or actress ever being nominated for an Oscar from a Marvel movie.
Right.
And if she wins, she'll be the first actor from the cinematic Marvel universe to win an Oscar. So I think all those factors count in. I think she's going to win. All right, let's move on to Best Actress, and let's take a look.
That right from the very beginning, I know precisely what time it is and the exact moment that you and I will arrive at our destination together.
Marilyn Monroe only exists on the screen.
I don't know, maybe buy a house, buy something nice for my boy, you know, just have a better life.
Let's not tell your father. It'll be our secret movie, just yours and mine.
What's happening?
Bill, your thoughts. Who do you want? Who do you think?
Well, I want Cate Blanchett, but she's won twice before, and I just think, yes, she'll get a lot of votes, but I honestly think that Michelle Yeoh, as much as we still haven't talked about how unimpressed I am with that movie.
We'll get there. We'll get there, as Perri said.
But for the meantime, I think this is Michelle Yeoh's year. I mean, she, for the same reasons I just gave for Jamie Lee Curtis, she's well respected. She's been campaigning, not too aggressively, but just enough, and I think she's the one to beat here.
I'm going to echo Bill, you know, especially with Cate Blanchett. I just thought it was such an amazing performance. She's playing this symphony conductor, and I just feel like in every frame of that movie, you can almost feel her backstory. You can feel all the sacrifices she's made, all the work she's put in. I don't know how she does that. I don't know how you convey a backstory like that as an actress, but she does it. She's amazing. But I'm with you. I think it's going to be Michelle Yeoh for a performance that, frankly, I didn't think was that great. I think she's been so much better in so many other things, but I think this is going to be her year. She gave that really moving speech at the Golden Globes, and you know, I think this is going to be her year.
Stop overacting with your cringing.
It's not overacting in this case.
You're gonna have you'll have the floor when we get to Best Picture. Believe me.
I need to preface this by saying I really do think Michelle Yeoh gives a phenomenal performance in Everything Everywhere, but my should win is Cate Blanchett because when you have someone as iconic as her who's delivered so big for so many years, and this I think is probably her career best, how do you not give her the Oscar? But I do think Michelle Yeoh is deserving. I think she's getting a lot of love right now, and it's going to power her through to the Oscar win. But then on top of that, bringing up Andrea Riseborough, Cate Blanchett got up there and supported her nomination. And also there is this vibe that Cate Blanchett gives off, and it's not a bad thing, but that she, you know, awards are important and they're meaningful, and I think we should celebrate them, but they're not the be-all, end-all, and she's expressed that. So that could possibly wind up putting some of her votes to other people.
I have two already. They look fine on the bookcase.
If her
I don't
votes
need
go
another
anywhere,
one.
I think they're to Michelle Yeoh, and that's not to say that Michelle Yeoh doesn't have a significant pile of votes regardless anyway.
Okay, so I hear you all. It is a two-person race. It's going to either be Michelle Yeoh or it's going to be Cate Blanchett. And Michelle Yeoh, if she wins, believe me, I'm not surprised at all. But the person that I want to win is the person that I think will win. I think Cate Blanchett is going to win. I think this is her career best performance in a line of performances that are phenomenal. She won for Blue Jasmine.
Yeah.
She was unbelievable in that. And I think this exceeds that. And if the Oscar is supposed to go to best performance, which it often doesn't, there's all these political factors that come into play. But if you do want to give it to the best performance, I think this is a remarkable, multi-layered, incredible performance. Really complex. And I think when it's all said and done at the end of the day, again, I'm not going to be shocked if Michelle Yeoh wins, but I want Cate Blanchett, and I think she's going to win. Let's take a look at who's up for Best Actor.
Mama, you ain't never happy. No matter what I do, no matter how much I give you, it ain't never enough.
Just tell me what I've done to you. And if I said something to you, maybe I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it, but I don't think I said something when I was drunk and I've forgotten it. But if I did, then tell me what it was.
Who would want me to be a part of their life?
So what's your sister's name?
Sophie.
Oh, nice.
I'm her dad, though, actually.
No, I remember what it's like to be alive.
Rafer, talk to me. Who do you want? Who do you think?
I think I would like to see it go to Brendan Fraser. I think it's such a great performance, and once again, this is a case where you kind of are conflating the actor with the role. You've got this comeback story, which I think Hollywood likes, as you say. It's a great performance. He's wearing all this amazing prosthetic,
wearing like 600 pounds.
600 pounds of flab on him, but yet, this wounded puppy dog of a character comes through, and I also think that's kind of how we see Brendan Fraser these days. So I think everyone's kind of pulling for him. I think he will win, although I do think Colin Farrell's got a shot, but I do think it's going to go to Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, at Gold Derby, we think it's basically a two-person race.
Sure.
And there are some other interesting choices, including the after-son Paul Mescal. But I think this is really
good performance, but not.
Let's deal with the 600-pound elephant in the room, which is there's no way after going through that process that he loses this. They love. Remember, Nicole Kidman won by a nose. They love it whenever these people put all these prosthetics on. And I don't love the movie, but I like his performance, and I would be thrilled if Colin Farrell won, but I think it's absolutely a slam dunk.
I used to think it was a slam dunk. I do think that the gap between the two of them is narrowing with every single
Colin
passing
Farrell
day.
and really?
Yeah, I think it is between the two of them, but Brendan Fraser has been my should win since I saw The Whale, and he's my should win still to this day, and I also do think that he is actually going to pull it off, and he's going to win the Oscar.
This is the lock of the evening, as far as I'm concerned. If you're playing at home, folks.
I could share better bets for you, Neil. Put your money elsewhere.
Well, okay.
No, I like him betting. I'm usually the winner in those.
Like we said with Ke Huy Quan, where people love a comeback story, this is even a bigger comeback story. I mean, this was like a matinee idol guy that everybody loved, handsome guy, and here he's putting on, like you said, he's wearing a 200-pound fat suit. He's buried under another few hundred pounds of prosthetics, and even with all that stuff on him, he still manages to convey like emotion and different levels of emotion. Plus, people love Brendan Fraser. They love this guy. They want to see him win. He got a standing ovation at the first film festival where, like, for 15 minutes that this thing was premiered at. As you said, Bill, the Academy loves when people alter their appearance. Think Gary Oldman as Churchill. Think Robert De Niro in Raging Bull. Right. Even though they with the prosthetic nose. And I mean, this is more prosthetics than I've seen.
Charlize Theron, everybody that uglies up gets.
This checks all the boxes in terms of what do you need to do to win an Academy Award. Plus, he's really good here, no matter what you think of the movie. And I didn't mind the movie, but he's great.
He's also lovely and he cares. It's like we do have to recognize. We have to recognize the fact that the campaigning process is important, and when he's doing all of that, he feels to me like he's doing it with maximum heart and authenticity, and that goes a long way.
He's genuinely happy to be nominated.
Okay, let's look at the big prize of the night. Here are the 10 movies up for Best Picture.
You saved my life. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll take those shears and I'll take one of my fingers off with them and I'll give that finger to you until I have no fingers left. Does this make things clearer to you?
Not really, no.
You may have a green Cadillac, but don't you break nobody's rule now, baby. Come back, baby, I wanna play house. You always play house.
Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
I am paying attention.
They tell me you want to be a picture maker.
Yes, sir, I do.
Why?
Do you ever find yourself overwhelmed by emotion?
Yes. Yes, that does happen.
Good morning, this is your captain speaking. Today's exercise is dogfighting.
2 versus 1? He's got to be kidding.
You say no to me?
No, no.
Oh, so it's yes?
Yeah, no.
Yes?
Going in.
Yes!
We were given 2 days to forgive the attackers before they returned. We hardly knew how to read or to write, but that day, we learned how to vote.
Bill, your predictions on
Well,
Best
in a
Picture.
perfect world, Maverick would win because it single-handedly, in $1 billion, has flown people back into movie theaters. And I think that's the reason, and the fact that a couple of others have made a lot of money, that will actually get a decent crowd for the Oscars this year. But I think there's no way Maverick wins Best Picture. And I think, and at Gold Derby we think too, that if there's a chance Everything Everywhere All at Once doesn't win, it'll be to the Banshees of Inisherin. And so that's my I hope wins.
Rafer?
I mean, this is a silly thing to say. I would like Tar to win. I don't think there's any chance that it will win, even though Kate Blanchett is going to win for Best
It's
Actress.
upbeat. You hum the songs when you leave.
Right, exactly. It's too arty, it's too weird, it's too much of a bummer. It's the kind of movie that does not win Best Picture. I do think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'll say it again. I did not like the movie, but I like everything about the movie. I like the fact that it's a weird indie genre mashup. I like the fact that it came out of nowhere. I like the fact that it was this kind of grassroots word-of-mouth hit. I like the fact that it's got a diverse cast. So if it wins, I think that's great because I think it says that the movies are back just as much as Top Gun Mavericks.
Just for prediction's sake, I think it's down to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Actually, Top Gun Maverick. I think it's really between those two. And
I think it's got a shot.
If anything takes it from those two, I think it's going to be The Fabelmans. But my will win and should win is Everything Everywhere All at Once. And to me, this is the definition of the kind of movie that should win Best Picture and essentially represent a year of cinema and what cinema is capable of achieving. I watched that movie
agree.
and I think to myself, how does a movie like this exist? And how does a movie like this exist and actually successfully convey the themes and ideas it's trying to present?
And
that
become a hit.
The definition of a bonkers story that I never in my right mind could conceive of myself. That's why the guys like the Daniels do that kind of stuff. But that's the other thing. When I think back to cinema in 2022, one of the most exciting experiences was seeing so many people, so many different kinds of people come together and feel enthusiastic about Everything Everywhere All at Once. It should win, and it won.
Hot dog hands. Just let me say hot dog
hands and
It's going to
talking
win.
rocks. I could go on and on.
Okay, listen. For what it's worth, I don't think that any of these 10 pictures are worthy of being called the best picture of the year. But
Well, no,
that's
one of them has to be.
Well, it will be, but I'm just saying.
Have you read the rules?
But, okay, I agree with you. If the Academy had any guts, okay, they would give it to Top Gun Maverick because exactly what you said. You tell me I never listened to you. You're 100%.
Sorry, what?
You're 100% right. It got people back into the movie theaters. It's a crowd-pleasing movie. It's what I'd like to see win. And, you know, when's the last time a big blockbuster crowd-pleasing movie won? Titanic in 1997?
Right.
I mean, literally.
And 55 million people watched
Right.
that.
So
That's
if
all
they
it-
had any guts, which I don't think I don't think that's going to happen, that's what should win. But what is going to win? Yes, Perri's movie that I'm not thrilled with, Everything Everywhere All at Once. But let's talk about Best Director. The nominees are Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert for Everything Everywhere All at Once, also known as The Daniels, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. Perri, who do you want to win, and who do you think will win for Best Director?
Can you guess? Can you guess where I'm leaning on this
Gee,
one?
such a mystery.
It's more Everything Everywhere. I think the Daniels have it, and I think they deserve it for all the reasons that I named. So I'm going will win, should win them. But if anyone upsets them, I do think it's going to be Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans.
Rafer?
I agree, and you know, if I were voting, I would split my vote that way too. I know I voted Tar for Best Picture here, but I would have said Spielberg for Best Director. He's just such an old master, and that movie just looks beautiful. He's just, the guy is just cinema. It's just flawless. I would vote.
Flawless? You think that
Spielberg.
movie's flawless?
No, you know, it's not that the
God.
movie itself resonated so strongly with me. I just think it was so beautifully directed and just so elegantly done. And I don't think the Daniels can win it. It's very rare for a directing duo to win.
Well, that's true. I think when they're
those.
checking that box, they're like, well, wait a minute. It took 2 guys to do what everybody else took 1. But I can't give Steven Spielberg the vote because he thinks his parents are way more interesting than the rest of us do. That movie is just a slog, and I can't believe Tony Kushner co-wrote it.
I wouldn't call it a slog. It's got its flaws. I wouldn't call it a slog.
I think it's a very flawed movie. I think that Steven Spielberg, if there is a split, like you said, they give Everything Everywhere the Best Picture, and they could give it to him. But Steven Spielberg has 3 Oscars already, and I just think it's Everything Everywhere. I think it's that movie's year, and for that reason, I think that the Daniels are going to win Best Director. I think it's going to be a sweep of that movie this year. Let's talk about some screenplays. Okay, Rafer, original screenplay.
Original screenplay, I think it goes to the Daniels for Everything Everywhere. I personally would have given it to Tar, but I think it goes to the Daniels.
Tar is the more interesting, complex screenplay.
I agree, and Todd Field is sort of beloved and hadn't been doing anything for a long time, and I think if there's an upset, this is where it happens. But remember, if you think Best Picture is going to Everything Everywhere, then that's going to be the screenplay as well.
You could skip me. You know my answer.
Perri votes for right, we all think, and I think as well, Everything Everywhere All at Once will win. All right, let's talk about adapted screenplay. Perri?
Women Talking. It should have so many more nominations than it got, but I'm happy that it feels like the front runner because it should be nominated for more, it should be winning for more, and I'm happy to say that I do think it's going to win this category.
So you're woman-splaining to the 3 men here.
Oy vey, don't start with
the
me.
way that movie does to everyone. Look,
Please tell me that was totally a joke.
I think Sarah Polley is going to win here. I think that she has written a screenplay, overwritten really a screenplay that almost can't be beaten because it's got everything and it checks a couple of boxes, let's be honest.
I have to make sure I'm clarifying that earlier joke because I do think in general making that joke has been very harmful and unfair to the amount of people out there I've heard say, oh, women talking is just women talking in a barn. Like, yeah, it is, but that's something that should be celebrated. That's a movie with sky-high tension that's entirely
and let me be clear,
dialogue-driven.
It's an incredibly important conversation that's happening around that movie. But there is one guy standing up there taking notes and going...
It's an important conversation that shouldn't be the conversation that we should be having. We should be talking about the movie's merits, not that it's being overlooked because it's a certain type of movie that's just checking boxes.
But it is extremely stagey. I mean, it's in a hayloft.
It's not, though. Which is why I think Sarah Polley should be nominated for Best Director, because it is not easy to take material like that and make it as riveting as she does and really enforce the idea that there's this ticking clock that literally will determine these women's lives going forward.
Well, that is kind of a snub. She should have been in.
I think that's one of the reasons that Women Talking will win Best Screenplay because she did not get nominated for Best Director. Yeah.
Look, the answer to who's going to win this movie is in the title of the movie. It's a screenplay category, and it's called Women Talking, which is, the screenplay is about dialogue, and it's great dialogue. So yes, Women Talking is going to win. Let's go to my favorite part of the show this year, which is we go around the panel and we pick our biggest snubs of the year. Perri, go ahead, have a field day.
I got 2. I think a lot of us share one of them. So I'll start with this first one here. How did Top Gun Maverick not get a cinematography nomination?
Yeah, really.
Claudio Miranda, oh my God, what exceptional game-changing work. And if you look at all the predicting factors that would help you figure out who would ultimately get a nomination, literally everything was working in his favor, and he deserved it, and they didn't get it?
Yeah.
That's just astonishing to me.
They built special cameras for those cocktails.
I don't understand that
But
at
your
all.
biggest snub of the year?
Hands down, the biggest snub, literally the definition of a snub, is Danielle Deadwyler not getting nominated for Till. It is just, like, point blank, she delivered one of the best performances of the year, and really, if she did wind up getting a nomination, I probably would have been thinking, it's probably between her, Kate Blanchett,
I thought she was going to win.
I was telling
everybody a lot to win when I saw the movie.
Ago, she was going to win.
Weird scenario that I can't understand.
That was my #1 movie of the year, and the fact that it got snubbed as a film and she got snubbed is unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Rafer?
Yeah, when I walked out of that movie, I thought that is the kind of performance that I would have expected from like one of our most vaunted Hollywood pros. That's the kind of thing you should have seen from a Meryl Streep or Viola Davis or somebody of that stature. And here's this woman who's just who's a no name at all, delivering like that on the screen, you know, she was just incredible. And like you were saying, I thought, well, she's going to get nominated and she's going to win. That's the end of that.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There were a lot of snubs this year. And before I get to my biggest snub, okay, RRR, which was a really phenomenal looking film, predominantly, as you said earlier, gets shut out. There's no women directors. I mean, Sarah Polley doesn't get nominated. Charlotte Wells for After Sun doesn't get nominated.
Gina Prince Bythewood.
What's that?
Gina Prince Bythewood for The Woman King.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so that's a giant snub. As far as I'm concerned, over Triangle of Sadness, I would have put The Menu, as Bill and I have discussed previously. Better film, similar subject matter, a parody, you know, satire on the rich.
If you can see only one pooing rich person movie.
And Emily the Criminal, I love that movie. I'm sorry that got shut out also. But my biggest snub of the year, I agree with everybody. As I said earlier, is Daniel Deadwyler for Till. I saw this movie and I said, this woman is not only getting nominated, this is the person to beat for the Oscars. And over Michelle Williams, I mean, I would have taken her out of the category, which I think is more of a supporting performance anyway, and put Daniel Deadwyler in that.
Or Ana de Armas. So the blonde thing is, she gave a great performance as Marilyn Monroe, but that hasn't got a shot in hell.
Yeah. Okay, the Oscars are on Sunday, March 12th. Check them out to see how we did. I want to thank my panel, Perri Nemiroff, the return of Perri Nemiroff, terrific.
The sequel.
Rafer Guzman, thanks. And Bill McCuddy. I'm Neil Rosen. We'll see you next time on Talking Pictures.